In the end, it took less than 30 years for the world as we know it to fall. 95% of the population died. There were a litany of causes, not that it mattered in the end. Our infrastructure failed, and with no electricity, our communications, lights, and internet failed too. There weren't even enough survivors left to tend the fields and care for the remaining livestock. As if any of us had any of the necessary skills. Those few of us who remained barricaded ourselves into makeshift fortresses, although they had no idea what we thought we were hiding from. To paraphrase that ass T.S. Eliot, not with a bang, but with a whimper, the world ended. Almost. In the late 2050s, the builders ended the crisis by combining biology, precision mechanics, and thermohydraulics to make constructs from the dead, human and otherwise. These automatons took up all the necessary repetitive tasks that keep us alive. The constructs follow algorithms and programmable, mindless cycles. The dead of all species have taken the place of slaves, and like those slaves, they have become the basis on which our recovery and our economy grow. They are everywhere. As humans, we have lost almost everything. But we do have what humanity has always had. We have hope.
Oh, hello. This is Dirty 20 Gaming. My name is Kevin, and these wonderful people have agreed to come and join me tonight and play games. And that makes me very, very happy. So, thank you for joining us. These amazing people are, let's start with, you're waving. Phil, tell us about yourself.
Why am I blanking on this? I've done this
five times. You know who you are?
Six times. My name's Phil. I play Dungeons and Dragons a lot, but mostly home games, so none of it's ever seen by the other public.
Dun. And Artemis, unfortunately, is stuck babysitting tonight, babysitting Verite and Carol, and trying to figure out how to rescue Carol's mom. Anyway, so... thank you for that. Let's keep going around the circle. Playing Delilah Stillwater for us this evening. We have Wayward Knight. Do your thing. Go.
That's me. I'm Wayward Knight. You can find me on the internet as either Wayward Knight or Wayward Knighted, depending on if Wayward Knight was taken already.
Bastards.
I'm an artist, an actor in the Detroit area. And here's my links to where I sell my art.
Bam. Go there and buy the art. Thank you.
And she does something else too.
Yeah, you do.
Oh yeah.
I
DM our new Monday game, Grave New World, which is our Buffy the Vampire Slayer TTRPG. It's cool. Come watch it.
Yes, and you had many views in the first episode, and I expect many more for as it continues on. And I said it several times that night, and I will say it again. That was the Buffyest thing I have ever seen in my life, including several of the Buffy episodes. So yeah, tune in, watch that. It was amazing. The passion every single member of that cast has for the show just comes shining through. I think I probably missed 3/4 of the references, and it doesn't matter. It was hysterical. So thank you for doing that for us. It's an amazing premiere. So thank you.
Thank
And that brings us around the square to the Bison _Stonefist. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's me. I'm Bison. You can generally find me in the Discord. I post a lot of memes and just basically shit post there. Other than that, I am playing in the Wednesday night game. I am Linus Longshadow, Halfling Fighter. Sorry, Kender Fighter. I forgot it changed.
Yes, you did.
And coming up in the near-ish future, there's a joke there. I will be running the Cyberpunk Red campaign.
Yes.
Which will be on Tuesday nights in what used to be, or what will formerly be, soon to formerly be. I don't know.
we still gotta kick this absolute living shit out of Honest John. So yeah.
Make an honest corpse out of him. So once that's over, we go from the Wild West to the near future.
Yes.
And so that's in the near future.
From the weird past to the weird future in the weird future. Awesome. That brings us around. Yep. Go.
Yeah. When we don't have games here on this channel, I stream games on mine. That's why I put my thing in the channel.
Put it. Thank you.
I did.
You did already. And then Discord is there as well. Yes. If you see this at any point, whether it's the VOD live or on the YouTubes, and you like what we're doing, it's because we're friends first and gamers next. If you want to join that community, one of the most supportive places on the internet, I say that, I stand by it. Come and join us at that Discord. Pop in, and if you want to play, we'll find you a game. And if you want to run a game, we will find a place to put it. I don't know where yet, but we'll find a flippin' place. So with that, there's three quick things I got to cover here. Hero Forge did the character art. Roll20 is our tabletop, virtual tabletop of choice. And all the art around me in the overlays and such is from Pixabay. Here at Dirty 20 Gaming, we are now streaming all things, knock on wood, 7 nights a week now. And, if you tune in on a night between 6 and 8 and we're not here, it's because somebody wasn't able to make it. Stuff happens. But the plan is to stream 7 nights a week. So, that's all the foolishness. I put a line down. We have to start now. I drew a line on a page. It's that real. Let's start. Let's start with, and if you want to produce producers, yes, we'd like producers too. Yes, we will teach you many things and do most of the work for you. If you would like to produce for us, we need producers. The more shows we want to add, the more producers we're going to need. Thank you. Now I have to draw a second line. Thank you. All right. And there's nothing between them, which is going to confuse. I almost said it was going to confuse me later. Like I look at my notes though, so never mind. Let's start. Oh, I want to make you wait. Let's start in the port with Sid and Delilah. The two of you have had an interest, because you guys have now stepped out of the house, right? Because you guys wanted to have a conversation between the two of you, right?
Yeah.
More or less, if I remember. No? I'm seeing a definitely no from the bottom there. Okay, I'm going with the definite no. I know you guys you wanted to talk it over.
We were kind of metagaming.
We were talking as players, not as...
Okay, gotcha. So you guys then are still inside the building with this person who's... do you have her name? Our note taker isn't here. Oh, no. Do you have...
She never gave her name.
I didn't think so. Okay.
No.
In that case, I just did.
Lady who lives in the hut.
It's okay. I just did. Perfect. So you guys are in the these wattle and daub thatched roof, except it's grass, house with this one person, this huge house. You guys all commented on the way in. That's like 20 people. That's and historically, Bronze Age, Iron Age, yes, it would be. You go in there, there's one person living in it. It's designed for one person. It's all but empty. There's no tech. They looked vaguely offended when you asked if there was anything you could fix, Sid. So, take it away.
I mean, I believe Delilah just silently threatened them.
Yeah, I don't think it was all that silent, but but yeah. So yeah, just to be clear, you've been told by them that you may not, in any way, shape, or form, take any of the samples. There's one in each of these houses. There's 24 houses. You may not take any of them, although you may bring whoever or whatever you want here to detest them in a non-destructive way if you wish. That's the offer.
Okay. Sid, honestly, not really seeing any leverage he has. He's willing to accept these terms for now. And he kind of conveys that, things might change depending on our client. We might have to move this to a building closer to the wall.
Oh no, it doesn't leave. I thought I'd made that quite clear. They don't leave the houses.
Our friend's agoraphobic.
Well, then he'll be happy to inside the houses.
So I guess
that's got Delilah's rage right back up immediately. Yes, sir.
No, I'm just confused because we left off with Delilah like showing off her apron as a threat.
Yes. Yeah.
So nothing came of that.
Okay. We'll get back. Yes, I forgot about that. Thank you. So that was conversation. You officially take off the jacket, doing the official ta-da, ta-da, you may now see me as.
No, so it was in my med bag.
Right.
So I had like pretended to ruffle through my med bag and then like set aside the apron.
Flat. I got you. Okay. Okay.
As like a reminder of like I have power.
Yeah.
But not like me officially like using that power, just a reminder that
just a little show of heft. Yes. They do the thing where they look at it and then look at you and then look at it again to make sure that you saw them seeing it, seeing you, seeing it, seeing you. Yeah, that one. And you go sort of get the Spock raised eyebrow. It's almost like they're going to say fascinating, but they don't quite. I wouldn't have expected someone of your, and they stopped because they almost said ilk, like, or someone like they almost said something that sounded negative, and someone of your experience, as they point at the thing, like I got it, I found a safe word, experience, stature. Yeah, that would have worked as well. I wouldn't have expected you here, looking around at all the greenery and shrubbery and like the inside of you look up and you can see the roots of the grass, right? They're growing through the sod that's on the roof. There's not a machine that you guys, other than what the two of you are wearing, there's not a machine, there's not a piece of metal other than that little disc in the corner.
Now you understand the importance of our visit. And she like put her apron back as if she was done with her med bag. And...
They're wearing, I said there's no metal. They're not. The little sort of utility knife that they've got on their belt is stone. It's a stone blade. And their hand sort of unconsciously, you can tell, sort of moves towards it and says, "It's not official business, is it? I noticed you," and they shut up as you put it back in the bag because they can't. It's you can't talk about it. It's taboo because yeah.
She's still got the programming.
Yep.
A little bit. As much as she's pretending to be a hippy dippy,
Yeah.
Sid, if he didn't have a job, but
so she'll look back and she'll say, for both our sakes, no, it is not.
Oh. All right then. Kind of looks back and forth between the two. Agoraphobic, you say?
He likes his junk. and he doesn't like being outside.
Doesn't like big spaces.
Oh, I understand. What I can do, and they look over on, there's a little, it's not even a table. They've made sort of a flat top mound of earth on the floor beside their bedroll. Yeah. I kept a straight face till you pointed it out in chat. But yeah, there's this little table, and on it there's 6 little stone bells. Like, they look just like bells, but they're made out of stone. They're almost transparent. And they look back at you and say, I have a friend who may be able to help. Do you mind if I call them?
Be my guest.
I would.
It's interestingly, like, honestly curious at this point what she's going to, who she's going to call, because at this point, all the only people he's seen out here are her and the dog, wherever the dog happens to be.
Yep, the dogs. You can hear him outside snuffling and snorkeling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can you imagine a dog who is
happenings.
out, like, smelling outside for the first time ever? Like, every blade of grass is a story. Every tree, every rock, everything is completely new. All they know is
so many things
cobbles.
to pee on.
All they know is cobbles, gutters, and my own pee. Right? That's their whole world. So yeah, he just pissing himself empty. But so blah, blah, blah. So yes, you said you go ahead. They look at you, Delilah. Is it all right with you? And they pick up the second, the fourth, and then the third. So it's a little 3-ring pattern. You can hear it go out the door. And a couple of minutes later, you hear from outside, piff, 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 as they kind of slap the thing. It's not knocking. It's just, you just slap the thing, right? And you hear, yes, come in. And an older lady comes through, same sort of outfits, like all natural gear, everything's natural. And they kind of look up at you, and they've got that, I just thought, they've got dreads, but here they're their original hair color, which is sort of a dark brown, and then they kind of go browny gray, and at the top they're all gray. There's no dye involved, it's just age. Right? Yeah. So yeah.
You can tell when they started, it's like counting rings.
It's like, man, you must have started when you were like 15, right? But they sort of step in and look over and say, Titania, you called? And they're kind of looking at you, and they're sort of, they come in and immediately back up against the wall. And now I can ask, how many hearts does everybody have in their hand at the moment?
I have 2.
The thing that isn't in the rule book that I love so much. None? Okay, you don't notice. Sid, this makes sense. You notice. There's kind of this moment, this flash of empathy. Space is a big deal here. And you kind of, as you look back, even this person that you're talking to, for all the confidence that they're showing, and they just got called Titania, by the way, by their friend, all that confidence they're showing, they've still backed as far away as, thank you, Phil, they've backed as far away as they can get from you and still be in this room.
Sid kind of, he makes room.
Mm-hmm.
And he does what he can to kind of, like, he's a big guy. He's, he's worked for this, build he's got, and he's doing what he can, not exactly to make himself small, but to just not to look as de-engineer himself.
Yes, just sort of smallen yourself. If you can embiggen yourself, you must be able to unsmallen yourself. So yes, I get that. Do you do anything to try and nudge, nudge, wink, wink, or anything to Delilah? You look over, they're oblivious. Sorry, Delilah.
Yeah.
No hearts in your hand. You're kind of distracted anyway, I would suspect. Yeah.
Sort of a quick...
you see him sort of backing away, which is weird because as he's backing up, he's like the roof is at an angle, right? So Sid's, like you said, he's a big guy. So as he's backing up, he's almost having to do that. You're like, if you saw him backing away, you look over. The one by the door is basically back to the door. The one whose house this is given space to you, and now Sid's backing away.
I'm just gonna follow Sid.
Just go with Sid. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's
Not
at this point.
necessarily
He's kind of like
understanding that, yeah.
leaning against the back of the
Mhm.
sort of leaning against the wall. So he's kind of got like the
yeah.
the Canadian hunch.
Yeah, for sure. So the two, yeah. So you can see they physically their shoulders come forward off the wall, so to speak, in one case, and literally in the other case. As you give them room, they sort of But even then, you can see as they both lean in at the same time, even the distance all the way across, they still go and kind of back up. And you realize they must have conversations with one person just inside the door and the other person all the way on the other side of this building. That's how much personal space they want.
Cool.
And the new one looks around and says, so, what is it I can help you with? And your host says, one of their friends suffers from an anxiety involving open spaces. I was wondering if you could help them. And she goes, oh, yes, absolutely. And starts patting like this 1,000-pocketed jacket thing that they're wearing, and no pockets bigger than this. And some of them got little leaves and stuff sticking out, and some of them have got little vials, and they're kind of, not that one, not that. Pull it out. Oh, yes, that's the one. Put that in a cup of tea for them, and be prepared to assist them. They won't be able to walk very straight.
Sid thinks of when he was directing him with the umbrella on his head. It's like, it's not much of a change, really. It's certainly appreciated. Do I steep the tea first, or do I steep it with the item?
Oh, put this in just before he drinks it. It loses its efficacy if it sits in hot liquid for any length of time.
Right. Appreciate it.
And then, and she kind of giggles. They might get a bit silly, but it only lasts for about an hour, so make sure you get them here and inside somewhere if it's as bad as you make this sound.
It gets a little weird, gets a little silly, and Sid kind of like, he gets that 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah, trying to imagine. Yeah, me too. I am currently trying to imagine exactly what Verite is going to be like on extreme Valiums. Yeah, because that's what this is. It is a pacifier, basically a pacifier to liquid. She says, yes, yes, two of these, and would put, and they look you up and down because you're you said you're, like most of your characters, you're like, how tall is Sid?
Sid is 6'4".
So yeah, they're looking over at you and still up. Two of these would put you unconscious, except for your flapping mouth, for about 8 hours. So just the one for him, thanks.
Flapping mouth, and Sid barely talks.
Yeah. Anybody that's wondering, the inspiration for this is the stuff that they give you. I'm not going to say what for, but you completely forget what's happened, and apparently your inhibitions are gone. I apparently, while being, and somebody has to come and get you from the hospital to take you home while it wears off, because apparently you say rude things and crazy things, and I was insisting that we go to the cafeteria on the way out of the hospital. And I was very loud about it, apparently. So, yeah, imagine me loud. It's like, oh, God, I'm drinking again. No. Anyway, that's what they lead you to expect. They will have no memory of their travel. They will be a bit difficult to deal with because they will be easily distracted. But what they will not be is stressed.
Sid gives sort of an appreciative nod.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Sort of looks to Tatiana, and so it's all right if we bring him here. He's allowed to test the materials in the home?
Yes, non-destructively.
Of course. All right. Hopefully we'll see you either later today or sometime tomorrow.
Delilah, it seems like Sid's getting ready to leave.
There's no use negotiating. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Delilah didn't like threatening, and she's
Mhm.
kind of pulling back, and she's just like, Sid seems to be a better negotiator in this moment. So, she'll just fall behind or fall back or
Wow.
let him take lead.
Delilah, what's it like finding something you're not naturally good at? Talking to hippies is tough.
I mean, she wasn't trained for diplomacy. And she never sort of thought that she would have to deal with diplomacy,
Mm-hmm.
Other than like bureaucracy.
Right. That's different. You have power. That's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very like it's very humbling
Mm-hmm.
for her, but not in like a way that she can like inwardly process and recognize, oh, maybe there's, stuff to learn. She's just like, this is weird, I don't like it.
I don't like it. Yeah. Perfect. All right. So as you guys turn to leave, we're going to cut away to a little grassy area right near a fence. Almost made it. Behind the citadel, surrounded by guards. Coes and Thomas, literally one hand each on a priceless ancient artifact. Freeze!
Well, we hadn't gotten there yet.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah, you got seconds, moments.
Yes.
What do you do?
You had left me with the decision to
Yes.
figure out
Yes.
whether or
Terrible
not
choice.
I
Yes.
struggle with him in
Yep.
order to
Right.
but in struggling they will find us and catch us,
Yep. I remember now
but
it is.
or we can both flee with it, not get caught, but then he gets away with stealing something
Yes.
extremely priceless.
Yeah. And you will not be able to stop him if he buggers off with it once you guys are over the fence. That was kind of a condition. You got to let him
Yeah.
go or both get caught. So, or be extremely creative and figure a way out of that. Go.
All right.
How is Florence's worst detective going to get through this?
He's not.
I don't know, but he's least
Not the worst detective.
not the
Least
worst,
moral detective, I guess.
least likely to stay on official task. I think, yeah.
That's more like it.
He's a great detective. He just won't stay on the bloody job his boss wants him to be on.
Well, that's how they see him.
Yes,
I,
we got
that's,
to
I
him.
honestly,
He's
no
lousy.
offense, Phil, but like, I grew up around cops. Someone who gets the job done but doesn't do it right is not very well liked.
Oh, just wait when his incredibly nosy workmates find out that he's hanging out with a teenage thief. Oh, anyway, so luckily for you, these are Citadel guards, so you're not being arrested by, it's not your own people rushing in to arrest you at this moment.
It's the feds.
So what do you do?
Given a week to think about this,
Yep.
I'm struggling to think about what to do. What would be like the best course situation? So I'm not gonna go with what's probably gonna best outcome,
Nope.
or what the outcome that should happen. I'm gonna go with the outcome that Coas probably would default to.
Yep.
And it's so as Coas comes ahead and kind of, all right, kid. If you want to pass to me, I can sprint faster than you. We can leave together.
How many hearts have you got?
I've got no hearts.
No hearts. Okay. He looks at you, looks down at the object, looks both ways. And he says, "They can't bust me if I didn't steal anything," and shoves the object at you, gives you the whole thing in the box, and says, oh, I remember. Get the fuck out of here. Like he's looking up at you, and you are now a militia officer in possession of stolen property, and he's telling you to bolt. You told him you're faster than him.
Okay. And oh, fuck you, Kev.
I'm already on the next step. So please say something. I already have another rest of this plan.
Shit. Okay. I mean, that's what I did just say that. I
Yep,
did just ask you to do that.
Yep. I should have called this kid your petard, because all he ever does is hoists you on stuff that you give him. Right?
His name is Bus, and he keeps running your ass over.
Keeps throwing you under himself. So, yeah, you are now standing there in possession of a stolen, priceless artifact.
Which may or may not be the
Cops,
hand
you
effect.
cannot, like, now it would be okay if these were your cop buddies. He's like, I got him, I'm just gonna put this back. But this is Citadel cops. What do you do?
All right. Quick intelligence check.
Yep.
Here, not intelligence, but like, would I actually be able to? I was just saying that, but would
Yeah.
I actually be able to get out of here without them seeing me with this?
You kind
that
of
like-
you scan in your head. If you can get over this wall, toot sweet, you'll be fine.
Okay.
There,
All right.
you remember that
Going for
their jurisdiction ends at the wall. So if you can get outside the wall, you can walk after that point. So athletics, or what do you? Is that what you like to use?
Gonna
Tell me
well,
something.
what I'm gonna do
Dexterity?
is
Okay,
I'm
tell me
gonna
what you're gonna
toss. I'm gonna toss the thing over so
do.
that way.
Okay. Yep.
I don't care if the box breaks.
Yep.
And it's I've been told it's a staff, right?
It's a
And so,
rod, basically. Yeah.
I'm assuming a staff won't. Well, actually, based on what he told me, what would the rod be made out of?
Iron.
Iron. Yeah,
Unquestionably, yeah.
that shit's not breaking from a
No.
10-foot drop or something like
And
that.
if it bends, you just bend it back. It's iron. But
Yeah.
I'm sure the gods won't mind.
So I'm tossing it over so that way
Okay.
I can, instead of like huffling it.
Yeah. So you kind of push it up, and like it's
I'm gonna-
it's only there, right? So you gotta push it over, and you hear poof on the other side as the box.
And I'm
hits
gonna
the
just kind of try to like, like how parkourers like do
Yep.
a couple like runs up the wall a little bit and then
So
catch on and go
dexterity
over.
means- Clubs.
Jackie Chan corner run.
ground. Clubs me.
Clubs. And speaking of which, I
Sticks
have
the compass down like a javelin. Right out the end of the
I-
box.
I do have
You are dexterous. You have a skill.
I
Hang
have
on.
dexterous and I also have a skill for
Bam.
which is
There we go.
prepared dexterity.
Right.
So which means I get to keep one of the ones that I play.
Right. Yes. So you can be
So what
dexterous
I'm
multiple
gonna
times.
play-
Yes.
Is if it's a clubs, I'm
Yeah.
gonna play my Joker
Yeah, that's one success. And another
and
club,
my,
that's two
my
successes.
club, and I'm keeping the Joker in my hands.
Perfect. Yeah. So two successes. So perfect. One for you, one for the thing. You boom, you hear it almost slide down the other side of the wall. You got it perfect, right? It just goes boom and then falls over. And then you just you find the little spaces between the bricks and just dun, 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 like the terrier between the tree and the fence, dun, 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 and then over the top. As you start to flip over the top, your eyes are drawn to movement behind you. You turn around and Thomas is running back towards the Citadel, reaching into his pockets.
Reaching into his pockets. I mean, I can assume that he's going back for more stuff.
From what you've seen of his previous, like, because you got here in time to see his the whole shtick he did at the start, right?
Yeah.
He appears to have been prepared for getting caught. Yes.
Hi, just really quick. Can I use this moment to catch my breath and refresh my hand?
Yes. Yeah, you
Okay.
guys have absolutely got, you've got 5 minutes plus as you walk back quietly through the port. Yeah. Are you? Only question for you guys. I forgot to ask. Are you taking the dog? He comes to see you as soon as you come outside. Bork, bork, bork.
Yeah, I pick
Drooling
up
and
the dog.
spitting and tonguing. Yeah. And he just keeps trying to lick you. But his own jowls are getting in the way, so you're kind of getting jowled rather than licked.
Here's cat cam for a second.
Oh, cat camera.
Guys.
It's
Mandatory
alive.
every session.
Yeah, every session.
That's what brings everyone back.
And now
It's
I was
cat
just
cam.
gonna say, and now chat, everybody go Cato.
Cat cam.
But yeah,
Alright, so yes.
so
The
it,
taxes you
seem,
paid.
it seems all the world that he was preparing to get caught.
Yep. And if you think
he's-
about it, the last place they're gonna look for him is going back in.
That is true. All right, I do not. The gate that I just went over.
Yep.
Is it like a
Fence,
full
yeah.
like fence? Is it like with bars that you
Stone.
can easily see
Yeah.
through, or
Yes,
is it
bricks?
just-
Bricks. Because I said you found like the gaps between the bricks on the way up. So yeah, it's a brick wall. Once you
Okay.
drop over the other side, you're not gonna be able to see anything. But I gave you this
I
moment
will-
at the top, and then poof, you drop down into the darkness outside the wall. You look, the box is right here. You pick it up, and it's heavier now because you were so full of adrenaline in there. And it's like, plus he was carrying half of it. You get like it's an iron rod in here. You look around, nobody's here. It's quiet, it's calm. You can hear a big fuss on the other side of the fence.
I'm gonna take this time then, as I come back.
Yeah.
Now he's going back in the Citadel.
Yep.
I'm taking this time where I'm alone with this item
Yeah.
to go ahead and hide this item.
Okay. Ooh. Yeah, right across from the Citadel. I mean, you're to the south of the Citadel if you look at the map. There's that whole row, a block of houses and block in there. There's plenty of empty houses. There's the ossuary just down the street. Nobody goes in there. There's the park right next to the Citadel, although that's technically Citadel property, so they could try and come and search in there.
Basically, I want to think of a spot where I know it's gonna be like barely anyone goes. People can go,
The
but
ossuary.
barely, and then also something that wouldn't be too obvious of a spot, so that way, Thomas
Well.
can't come pick it up on the way back.
You've got a second now. You kind of open the box and look. It's a metal rod about that long.
Oh, I can hide it in like a couch or
Yeah.
something.
Oh yeah, it's not a big deal. It's all covered in carvings, and it's carved iron. It's not cast or molded. Like this is Iron Age work. Somebody made this piece of iron, and in and of itself was considered magical. You can tell from all the little symbols on it.
Okay. So I'm going to find a house that I'm gonna try to find a house that doesn't look like completely like
Yep.
run down, abandoned,
Yeah.
but so it looks like maybe there's been some minor traffic in it.
Yep.
So that way it's not too out, because the first place people are gonna look are places where no one visits.
Absolutely. So yeah, you take a little while and sort of cruise around and find a place that's that nice balance, right? That just obvious enough to be invisible, and you hide the rod in the box.
I'm gonna hide the rod in a couch,
Okay.
and then the box I'm bringing back with me to Thomas's place.
Okay. 1 second, please.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty music.
While he's gone, oh shit, more cat cam, I guess. That's he's currently, his name is Apollo. He is currently curled up in a ball in my lap, and it is straining my legs to keep him on there,
Okay.
but I have to, or else I'm a bad cat father. So,
All right. So, yes, you
this is-
you hide that and you take the box home, or no? You took it back to your place, or to
I'll take it back to Thomas's place. The
Thomas's
box.
place. Okay.
The cover. There we go.
And you can break into his house. See how he likes it.
Yeah, you get up to his place, and it's dark, and there's nobody moving. There's no lights.
Well, if there's no one here, I'm also going to do a bit of investigating at Thomas's place. Try to find more, because I remember, I don't think my notes saved, which sucks. But if I remember correctly, the whole thing was that Oh no, Cougarins. So it was being paid for by Golden Cougarins.
Yep.
And these were letters delivered by courier.
Yep.
And apparently letters are being sent back.
Yep.
I won't look at any of the letters that he's sending to there, like any like written letters or anything. I don't want to I don't want to invade his sending to out, but I would like to look at letters that are sent in.
Okay. Yeah. Most of them are the equivalent of work orders and receipts, like order received, this is how much it'll cost, record of payment for such. A couple
Invoices.
of them, yeah, basically, a couple of them are refusals to do certain things. But yeah, I'm not going to make you make an investigation roll. You look at the things that there was a whole period, there was a sudden point about 3 months ago where a bunch of things got said no to. And when you start reading through them, it's real obvious that that's the moment when Thomas took over the ordering. Because the first couple of things he tried to order and get in, people didn't know. And then you'd see him sort of back off and ask for less and less and less as time goes on, and then start getting things. And then you can see him starting to order a piece here and a piece there and a piece here, and he's putting stuff together. And you can see he's been brilliant for a very long time. He likes figuring stuff out.
Now, Kois, I mean, Phil knows this.
Yeah.
We've kind of talked about this, but Kois didn't quite know this. Kois thought he was getting letters to his parents.
Yes.
From his parents.
Yep.
But after reading through all of these,
there's not a single
and especially
one.
that correlation between 3 months ago.
Yep.
Is there any last name address here?
There is. What is it? I can't come up with an Italian last name. That's ridiculous. Medici. There we go. Sure. Just go with the classic. Yeah. I like this. Yep. So yeah, the family name is Medici.
All right. So now I have my info for what to look for what happened to the
Yes. Now you can go and do your research.
And that's it. I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait with the box closed.
Okay.
Waiting for Thomas to come back.
Where his house is kind of, you can see in the distance, you can see the citadel.
Yeah.
And imagine you're kind of looking down there. About an hour later, there's a series of light flashes. At first, they're almost like explosions, and you're waiting for the boom, but then you realize they weren't. There's nothing. It's just a flashlight, 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 flashlight. And then a bunch of torches running around in the darkness afterwards.
What is that kid up to?
And about as much time as it would take to jog from there to here. Later, he comes rolling into his room, giggling and laughing. He kind of stops and looks over at you.
I'm gonna say, it took you a while.
Yeah, my accomplice was shit. Why are you in my room?
Just looking
You're the
to
one
see what
that
you
told
had.
me you're not supposed to go in people's places, and here you are in my place.
Well, I'm your accomplice, aren't I?
Speaking of which, where is it?
Somewhere safe, and he kind of points over to the case. But first, what were you doing still there? You had the rod,
Yeah.
which one you weren't even supposed to go for, but still, you had the rod.
Yeah, I did.
Why did you stay?
I didn't want you to get caught.
It's a nice sentiment, but I wouldn't have gotten caught if you had never gone for the rod in the first place.
Well, there was no chance I wasn't going for it.
And why not?
And he kind of looks around the empty house and he says, I think you figured that out.
Kid, listen. think the rod is going to. The rod was able to do that. Why would they have a lock and key under a museum? Never used.
Because it would completely and utterly destroy the economy based on the constructs?
I mean, I'm. Listen. In the manuscript, was there a cost associated to this action of using this rod?
Yeah, but I figured a way around it.
What was the cost, and what is your way around it?
The cost is a soul, and I figure I'd give him somebody other than mine.
Does it have to be a willing soul? And wait a second.
No, and what?
He kind of steps back for a second.
And in that moment, as you step back, you realize you're looking down at like a just barely teenager trying to process this.
He kind of gets down a bit to try to get to eye level.
Yeah.
You didn't deserve this. I'm sorry, Thomas.
But I can fix it. And he starts to move towards the box.
That's the thing. You can't. It's.
Do you physically stop him from getting to the box?
It's done, Thomas.
He grabs one end of the box and lifts it up and says, "It's not in there. It's not in there. It was heavier than this. Where is it?" He starts looking around his room.
Thomas, whose soul would you used?
I was...
If this thing did work, which it won't, whose soul would you use?
And I want to pause for a second, because as you say that, you realize he's talking about murder.
I know.
Yeah.
And so Koas is trying to
Yeah.
bring that point to him.
Thank you. Thank you for the, the
death.
content warning. Yes. I thought I'd go and try and get mugged. And then use them. He sort of, you get the big gap while he skips over the sort of important bit in the middle.
And what if they were a parent? And what if they had a kid? What if they had someone that loved them? Like you loved your parents? Like you still love your parents?
And for the first time, he looks defeated. He hasn't got a smart-ass answer for you. He just drops the box, drops on the bed, and just looks defeated.
Listen, Thomas. Even if the staff would have worked, it's not the way you go about things. We can't change the past. I know it's a cliche thing to say, but I've been in your position. I've wanted to go back and change things. I used to have a younger brother. And something similar happened. An accident. And he's no longer with us. Changed the course of my life. And for a long while, I was in the mindset that you were just in. And I guess I'm still in that mindset a bit.
And I don't do this very often, but I'm going to fade this scene out
Okay.
as he sits down on the bed and starts to listen, and the two of you start to talk. For the first time, he's listening when you're talking. He's not thinking of what he's going to say. He's not adversarial anymore. And it turns into a conversation. A very personal conversation, and that's why I kind of dropped the, So,
Yeah, and the gist of the conversation is just not. It's okay for him to feel what he's feeling about this. It's perfectly fine. And it's about kind of allowing these thoughts to come into their mind, acknowledging them, accepting them, and letting them, kind of asking them to leave and letting them
So
depart.
he's now having that moment that you had, right? That sort of acceptance.
And it's during this conversation, as Kois is talking, he's realized that despite the progress that he's made himself, a lot of his current actions are still he's kind of a walking not contradiction, hypocrite.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A lot of his actions are all happening because he's still a bit in kind of a mode where he wants to do something.
Sure.
And he wants to kind of find ways to revert or to figure out what happens, or,
I'm so glad I called this episode Foreshadows. So, yes, we'll leave you guys having that conversation in the gathering gloom. Meanwhile, the two of you step out of the village, away from any possible earshot. You know nobody's close to listening because everybody out here has got a space issue. So as the two of you and the dog start hoofing it back towards the gate from the port back to the city, what happens?
Delilah, for one, is quiet.
Mm-hmm.
It was a weird experience for her.
Yeah.
Not only because nothing kind of went right.
Yeah.
But also just like she almost felt like she went against who she was.
Yeah.
Just in the entirety of this entire venture.
Yep.
And she's not sure how much of that she liked.
Mm-hmm. And now you find yourself walking back towards the world that you know. As soon as you leave this port, it'll be cobblestones under your feet again. It'll be gaslight, constructs, all of that stuff.
Yeah, she doesn't know she wants that either.
Perfect. Sid?
Sid's kind of multitasking. Part of him is, trying to process these weirdos.
Yeah.
And their strange claustrophobia.
Yeah.
Part of him's thinking which tea would go best with this, whatever the fuck. The Englishman in him is, leaking.
So I'm going to give you a second to think because through no planning of my own, I can hear elsewhere Into the Mystic playing in the background. So that's my background music for the stories you guys are telling me right now. It's priceless. It's absolutely beautiful. So please go. I love it.
And I think the other part is like he's kind of like problem solving in his head.
Yeah.
How he's going to cart this guy from where the hell Where does Artemis live?
By the
Uh,
legs of David, I think.
fairly near, yeah. Only a couple
Yeah.
of blocks, yeah. They said they were in a nicer house, so I was thinking just into that. What did we call that area? The pink area,
The Maria Novella.
Santi D'Ambrogio. So just sort of to the
San-
southwest.
yep.
Southeast of the Legs of David. In
Oh,
that
okay.
region. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So just it's more
not
than a
that far,
couple of
yeah.
blocks.
Yeah.
It's definitely some distance.
Yep. And yeah, you guys don't
Um,
know about his breakthrough, so
Yeah. So his brain is like trying to figure, how am I going to make this rickshaw?
yeah.
Essentially.
Yep. How am I gonna get him over here?
Mhm.
So you, I'm gonna point out the same thing that you said. You're walking on grass. The sun's pounding down. There's not a building. There's not a hiss of steam. There's nothing here that you're comfortable with, and you're walking back towards that world. That big, loud, stinky, steamy world that
Yeah.
you know.
Part of him's like also really enjoying that tranquility.
Yeah.
His life has been all noise since
Yes.
London.
Yep.
Pretty much 30 years of, if it wasn't, fires and screaming, it was the whir of a dirigible engine and then the hissing of steam.
Yep.
And the only real quiet he ever gets is those little moments in the morning.
Yep.
And here he's had a couple hours of it.
Yep.
So yeah, he's kind of in a really weird headspace.
I'll bet.
It's allowing the autopilot in the back to just do whatever and do all this problem solving, which is, I guess, grounding him in the tech world that he understands.
Yep.
But at the same time, yeah, trying to make it make sense.
Oh, I love it.
And then there's the little boy that remembers the blessed couple of years before he really understood how bad things were.
Yep.
Before London.
Yeah. So as you guys are walking towards the gate in these deep thoughts, Delilah, splork, the tongue finally comes around and gets you when you're not paying attention, right across the cheek.
Ah. I mean, definitely like shock at first. She'd never had pets before.
Yeah.
She almost drops the dog and she's like, oh, nope.
And he's there, like button up under your chin with his head.
Mhm.
And she's like, oh my god, oh wow, wow. And she's like doing that thing where like someone who's never been kissed by a dog before is like trying to
Yeah.
like kind of like make it kiss like
Yeah, because it's
the
dog
neck
breath.
as opposed to the mouth.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
dog breath. It's hideous. Yeah, it's bad. Yeah. But then now they're squirming and kind of.
She tries to like, sort of bolster the support under its butt so that it doesn't like slip.
Yep.
And she's like, she's just like trying to like hold this dog
Yep.
and has no idea.
And
how
finally,
to
its
do
little
it.
feet flop over your top arm, and its head goes out. It's like you got it in a papoose, like this, and it's
Basically.
just.
Watching the world go
And
up.
you're walking towards the fence, and he keeps trying to lead. Like he's like, "There's smell something over here." He's trying to go over there, but he can't lead you because you're carrying him. And he's like, "Smell something over there." I smell something. So he's and Bassets are a big dog, right? So it's like, yeah,
Holding a 20-pound squirming sausage.
yes.
Basically.
But
So,
with that, yeah, go.
so she's just like
Just go.
holding this wriggling
Yep.
creature.
And you
And,
guys, yeah,
Trying to not seem very uncomfortable.
sure. So you guys get to the door that you opened on the way in, and you can open it and step back out. The boards are still there. Do you put the boards back up? Sid, you're the only one with free hands at the moment.
He puts 2 of them up.
Okay.
He leaves the bottom one so that if the Basset Hound ever decides he wants to go for a run again,
Yeah, he could
he
get
has
in.
a doggy door.
All right, perfect. I love it. As you finish that up and you turn around, you see Stacy down at the end of the street, eyes like bigger than her head. They're just this big, and just it starts charging towards you, and the dog in your hands, Delilah, is going nuts. Just, he's running in the air. He's kind of tail flapping and spit flying, and just
I
ears
set him
flapping you in the
down.
face. And just bork, 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 bork down. The 2 of them are just like the immovable object and the unstoppable force in the street. And there's just this rolling ball of dog and child and joy just piled all over the road. And from down the road, you hear Christina say, "Oh, God, it's going to take hours. I believe," and she looks stunned that you've got the dog back. And there's this, you can see the look on her face, like, no questions. I don't even want to know. But she looks at the 2 of you and says, "I believe I owe you a dinner." Those 2, and she looks, and the 2 of them are just bounding off down the street. Won't be back for hours. Dinner?
I don't see why not.
It would be rude to refuse, ma'am.
And you follow them back to their house. And as you open the door, I mean, it's like walking into a fine restaurant. It's just the smells, they're not overwhelming, but there's just like one after another, just amazing odors. And as the door closes behind you, you realize you went from like grass to city to food in like 2 blocks. These smells, everything's different, right? They lead you into the dining room, and it is set like the Titanic's dining rooms, right? It's all gilt plated and gold, and there's candelabras hanging from the ceiling, but there's also candles on the table. There's centerpieces with flowers, and there are precisely 4 plates. You see a gentleman sitting on one side of the table, and she walks over and sits down on the other side and gestures to the 2, or doesn't sit. She stands behind her chair, and he stands up, and she gestures to the 2 other chairs and says, "If you would, I'm so sorry, I didn't ask your names."
Sid Brimlock, ma'am.
Lila, Stillwater.
Oh, thank you. Sid and Delilah, this is my husband, Harold. I'm Christina. And I just wanted to thank you. I thought we were, well, it doesn't matter what I thought. Let's have dinner. And they ring a little bell again, and I mean, Sid, you know, it's frequencies, right? It triggers the help. And the first course comes in on silver trays with silver cloches. That's what it is. Damn, I almost forgot that word. Oh, the silver cloche covering them, and they're set down in front of each of you, and it's these exquisite, just stunning little fruit pastry. It's glazed, and the plating it's 5-star Michelin stuff.
Sid's eyes are just like notably impressed. You know, there's not a whole lot of facial expression, but his eyes are just like, damn.
And then
this woman's talents are wasted.
What a cloche really does is capture steam, which is full of odor. So when they go woof, they open it towards you, and it goes woof, and you get this huge blast of smell. And there's just a hint of citrus and a little bit of spices in there. It's very Mediterranean. You look down at the table. The husband is just eating, like he's just digging in. But the Christina is looking down the table towards you to see how you respond. Their fork poised over theirs.
Delilah will cut herself a piece and try it.
It just goes poof into flavor.
Sid almost picked up the whole thing at once, but he's watching everybody else.
Yeah.
So he does the
one bite bagel. Yeah. So then this is, it's almost too good to be called food. It's like it's an experience, right? The calories just don't matter here. This is and every bite is as good as the last one. It's impossibly good food. And at the end of the first course, the plates are taken away, and the next round comes in, and they're set down in front of you, and the cloches are pulled off, and this time it's a beautiful fish dish. And Christine looks down the table and says, I hope you don't mind. I didn't have much time. I hope 3 courses is enough. And she's just grinning. The hubby is just snarfing through the fish like it's a McFish at McDonald's, right? He's just totally oblivious, not making conversation, nothing.
I assure you it's more than enough. We are grateful for whatever you have to offer.
Oh, what do you think of it, by the way?
I'll take a bite of the fish.
Again, it's like fish-flavored air. It's just It's almost a sound. It's so good. Yeah.
It's magnificent.
Oh, thank you. My parents used to run a restaurant before. And the husband is like, run a restaurant.
Sid's English palate is overwhelmed.
Yeah. This is subtle without bland, Sid. It's possible.
Yeah. Like there's like lands of flavor he hasn't been to ever. Because I mean, this guy, he just, you see him toast tea, coffee, a sandwich maybe, so yeah, he's just at one point during the whole meal, whichever it comes to, you actually see a single tear.
Oh, in that case, it's probably the dessert. Because you gave me a couple seconds, so I figured it out. I can describe this one in exquisite detail because I used to make it. It comes out, and this isn't under a cloche because there's a smell, but you don't need the cloche to capture it. They put it down in front of you. It's a parfait cup. Beautiful little flat parfait cup. And in it is this pale tan cream. And somebody's taken one little scoop out and turned it over and put it on top. So there's this perfect surface, a hemisphere, and then a hemisphere dip. And you look into that hemisphere dip, and as you do, you can see a liquid rising inside of it. And that's when the smell hits you. It's Grand Marnier. This is a Grand Marnier parfait. And they're about 30% alcohol, but they are freaking exquisite as a dessert because they cleanse the palate and give you a dessert flavor because it's pure sugar too. It's a parfait. But it's got that alcohol cleansing, but it's the creamy alcohol, so it's just like dessert. Yeah. It makes your brain make the noise from the start of the Dark Crystal. Yeah, that one. It makes your brain do that. And yes, it's real.
Yeah, Sid's utterly speechless.
Yeah. And again, he's
quite impressed.
You look up at him, and he has actually, like, it came with the little dessert spoon because you're supposed to, like, there's about, just so you know, there's about 3 ounces of alcohol in this, and it's not been burned off or anything else because it's ice cream. It's all still there. And you get this little tiny spoon to eat it with. Your boy at the end of the table has used his soup spoon and gobbled it in about 4 bites.
That guy.
He looks vaguely at you, kind of like doesn't even come up to your eyes. He just kind of acknowledges that you're over there, looks at his wife and says, I'll be in the den. And he grabs a coffee on the way by as they're bringing the coffees out. He grabs it off the tray and heads out of the room.
Is he always like that?
And she kind of grins and waits, and the door closes, and she says, "Food critic by trade."
So there's
Sid sort of like stumbles a little in his coffee.
I would like to thank you and my wonderful daughter for this excuse to make a proper dinner.
You're absolutely welcome then.
And it's at this point that the smell of the coffee comes up to you, and it's Spanish coffee, so it's got there's some whiskey in there as well.
I mean, oh, go ahead.
She kind of leans back in that after dinner mode, and she says, "So, in the port, just wandering around, was he?"
Having the time of his life.
He quite enjoyed it.
And there's a long pause as she looks again to make sure the husband's not coming back, and she says, "I've looked through the door. That's not a port."
It was once. Things fall down.
Yes, and restaurants close, but they don't turn into parks.
Mhm. Sid doesn't say anything. He just sort of mulls his coffee for a moment.
Yeah, Delilah's like, is it her place to like rat these people out? I mean, she just threatened to, but like she doesn't
Mhm.
want to.
Yeah, yeah. Could have called it difficult decisions, but I called it foreshadows instead.
I think Sid, he thinks for a moment. He's like, unlike the scrap, which is all plastic and garbage, what was in the port was steel and concrete and wood and things we actually could use. So when those things started to fall apart, we probably used them to build the bloody wall.
That might be how the big things got out. And there's this pause where they're waiting to see if and what you'll say about what you saw when you were in there.
Sid's not going to rat out the
Okay.
only,
Yeah.
lead
Nobody's
they
gonna say
have to
anything?
get those
Okay.
fucking items.
And she says, "All right then, fine. I won't ask you about the smoke. Are they good people?"
Sid's just sort of like, some people just want to be left alone.
There's kind of a little grin, and she's message received and understood. Thank you. Another coffee?
Sid extends the cup and saucer. Please, ma'am. This is delicious.
Yeah. And the servants come in with more servants. The constructs come in with another freshly brewed cup of Spanish coffee for use. Use. I said that there. I did say it once. There
Can
you go.
constructs make coffee?
No. No, they cannot. They also can't cook like that. It's all her.
They serve it.
Yeah, it's all her. She said she had 3 hours to get ready for this, right? So, yeah, she prepared a 3-course meal for 4 people, coffee and drinks. The only part of this meal that I described that couldn't be done in 3 hours is actually the Grand Marnier parfaits. They have to stay overnight because they got so much alcohol in them, they take forever to freeze. But never mind.
Don't
Figure something out.
ruin the
Liquid
magic,
nitrogen's a thing.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Liquid nitrogen's a thing.
Yes. So, with that, you finish off your coffee in sort of relative quiet. You can hear Thunderbum in the other room smashing around in his den.
The wannabe
Yeah.
newspaper editor.
Yeah. Used to be a food critic, and he was forced to sit through some of the best food ever again. Yeah, that's what she said. He used to be a food critic, right? So yeah.
I'm just my brain is just
Yeah.
you know, he missed being able to criticize people in the paper.
Yes.
So he started a fucking paper.
Yep. It all ties together completely by accident in that case. I'm not going to try and take credit for that, but it does all tie together. My NPCs are three-dimensional, and even I don't know it. Okay.
2 sentences.
So, yes. With that, dinner finishes. As you head outside into the gloom, you can hear the joy of a barking dog and a squealing child still joyfully engaging in shenaniganry all over the place.
Yep. Fully aware that once
Oh.
they're done, they're
Oh.
done.
Oh.
They are going to be sleeping like corpses tonight. Or like constructs.
I do. Yes, I do. They come running back up the street. Yep, I do it. They come running back up the street. You see Stacy first. The dog's coming behind. He's dragging a big stick, but he's dragging it. It's
Where
heavy.
this is going.
Yeah, there's also bits of it sort of not quite sparking because iron doesn't spark. But yeah, we've got to bring you guys back together somehow. There is a line of lead marks on the road behind this dog dragging this metal. All you guys know is it's a metal stick, big iron bar. And the dog and the kid go running into the house. You can see why I was torn, whether I want to do that or not.
Sid takes a moment and sort of like plays with the dog tug-of-war.
Okay,
You know,
yeah.
like
and
it's
yeah,
a stick, just to
like,
sort of like
because
get a
it kind
good
of looks
look
like
at it.
rebar from a distance, right?
Yeah.
Until you grab it, and it's like that's not ridges, that's words and weird old phrases and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's a neat stick.
And then my stick.
Off you go, boy.
And he does this thing where he tries to go to the door and the stick's too wide. It isn't, but he runs into the door frame with one side of it and has to turn sideways to go in. But yeah.
And Kois is gonna be running in.
Koas, do you go back? Here's a great way to tie this together. Do you go back and look for after you talk to the kid? When you're no, I'm not going to lead you there. You don't know any of this happened. But yeah, you
Too
finish your
obvious.
conversation.
Yes, I would have gone back.
And in the middle of the night, yeah, you come out.
Yes, I would have gone back for the stick. Yeah.
Yep. You find a trail of like dog spit and lead trailings up the street. I'm not going to make your roll because you guys have been apart for almost 2 episodes now.
So by
yeah.
timeline, he's been chasing this dog for hours.
Yep, following these marks all over. Well, it makes sense. This is going to look like one of the Family Circle cartoons, where they follow little Billy and there's the little dash line that goes everywhere. Because he's following the little marks left by a little girl and the dog that it's playing with dragging this thing. So they go down the street and into the park and around the other side and into a box and out of the box. And yeah, they're just, yeah.
Meanwhile, Kois is like, man, this person's really trying to shake my tail.
Yeah.
This person's so experienced.
Yeah, and then you finally click like that's dog spit. Those are dog claws. It's a dog. And as you come around the corner, Kois, you see at the end of the street 2 very blissed out looking people that you know. I'm assuming the 2 of you are still blissed out on the food. As you step out into the evening, and Kois, you see at the end of the block for a moment. You realize what's happening. The dog's got your stick, and you see Sid reach down and kind of go, "Ah," and you're like, "Good, go Sid, go!" And then Sid lets him go, and he goes into the house with it.
So he's gonna come jog up. Hey guys, that wasn't a stick, Sid. That was a staff, very important staff that was stolen from the Citadel.
Stolen from a citadel, huh?
Yeah, I was following the trail of it, and turns out it's here. A dog found it, I guess. Trying to catch up with the tracks all morning.
I was gonna say insight check, but I don't have that skill.
No, it's empathy, I guess.
I don't have that one either.
No. But you'd still roll,
Totally
or you still play, you just only get to play one card.
Yeah. But no, Sid's still a little buzzed.
Yeah.
He's just like, well, if you knock on the door and ask for Christina, I'm sure she'll help.
Right, okay. Well, I'm bringing this back to the Citadel anyway, so it's Citadel business. So I'm sure she would happily give it back, right? Christina, you said her name was?
Yep.
Right. So it's gonna come up and knock on the door.
What are the two of you doing? He walks up to, you guys just walked up and down the walk.
Yeah.
And you had this conversation. He now heads up the walk. You guys are standing on the sidewalk. So what do you do?
I'm
Just,
on
like,
the other.
watching, like, what's a
Yeah.
militia guy doing? Like,
Yeah.
like pretending to be like, what's a militia guy doing?
Just kind of rubbernecking, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Sort of like on the other side of the street from the house, just sort of
Yeah.
like sitting under a street light that hasn't gone up yet.
Yeah. Okay. Koas, yeah, bang, bang, bang on the door. A lady opens the door. Yes.
That was that your dog that just went into the house there? I'm assuming so, right?
Yes.
That dog had it looked like a stick with it, but it was actually a pretty important militia, and he's gonna show up.
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh dear. Okay.
It's pretty important.
Well,
Artifact.
I don't mean to be forward, but what are we going to replace it with? I don't know if you've ever tried to take anything away from a dog or a child, and this is both.
Yeah, I can find something to replace it with. Yeah, it's just, and he's gonna look behind him like, okay,
So
sure.
just sort of lazily waves from across the street.
So full and half drunk. He's like, yeah.
Just one second.
Dinner
Let me
and
ask those folks.
entertainment. This is great.
Yeah.
Let me ask those folks, see if they have anything on hand. Just hold on a second. Then he's gonna come up back to them.
Outsmarted by a basset hound.
No, it's just not outsmarted, out wrestled. I'm not wrestling that thing out of its grasp. No way. It's gonna beat me. You guys wouldn't happen to have any like long stick-like objects, would you? Maybe you have a hammer, right, Sid?
Sid just gives him a glare.
I'm messing.
Doesn't say anything.
Yeah, I'm kidding. He kind of like does like a light little punch to him.
Yeah.
Is there like, I know there's not like a lot of nature around the city, but like, is there like dead wood anywhere?
Oh, a couple of blocks away in the port, there's all the sticks you could possibly want.
That's not a good idea.
That's that's a good idea.
I was Sonic trudging. That's not a good idea.
That's also.
Is there some like spare pipe laying around?
It just hits the floor. It blows up.
Yeah.
Is there like some spare pipe laying around or like urban debris?
Oh sure, yeah.
Oh, it wouldn't be too hard to find a table leg or something.
Table,
Yeah.
table
Or a
legs,
table
lamp
itself,
posts. There's all kinds of stuff. You just have to, find something. It's easy enough. You find, I don't know, let's say a piano leg.
Poor piano.
It had 4. They only need 3. So yes, you take that back and yeah, knock on the door again.
Yeah, knock on the door with the piano.
Oh hello.
Hi again,
I'm very
it's me
glad you
again.
told me you were a militia before you showed up my door wielding that.
Yeah, it's the replacement stick. Like
Yes. Stacy, bring the dog. and the two of them come barreling down the stairs. No stick. Just the dog and the kid. What's that? She says, looking up at your stick. Gimme.
Sure. Yeah.
And she, and then turns around and starts heading up the stairs, and the dog's following her.
Do you mind going to look for that stick that the dog brought in? I won't enter your building. It's fine. Just,
The mother looks at you and kind of does the slow shake. No kids, I assume?
No kids.
All right. Stay out here and try not to talk to them. And she does leave the door open a little bit, like just enough to, you're allowed to stay. And you hear her go up the stairs and come back down. And a couple minutes later, she opens the door and hands this thing to you. What is that?
It's an important artifact from the museum. I was stolen recently. I managed to track it down, and when I tracked it down, it turns out the dog had took it.
That would explain the teeth marks. I'm going to let you explain those. It's iron. It would be dented by dog teeth dragging it all over the town, right? So yeah, you look down. There's some pretty obvious gnaws marks. There's also one end that's worn where it was dragging, so it's shiny metal polished iron now.
I don't think you're gonna get the warranty on that.
The deposit is gone.
Thank you so much for this.
And the door closes, not in your face, but not far from it. As you hear her inside. Young lady, get upstairs. It's time to get cleaned up before bed. And put the dog. No, the dog stays down here. No, the dog stays. Because you have to say everything to kids 10 times or they don't hear it. So you hear that going on behind the door. You walk back down to the street.
Right, guys. I need to go back to the Citadel to make a drop off. Do you guys want to come with?
Sid looks to Delilah. I've got nothing better to do tonight.
I mean, I would like to sleep, but it's not quite my bedtime. Why the hell not?
So, Coes, talk me through your plan here. What are you going to do? I'm very interested to hear this.
I'm gonna. As we're going, I'm gonna explain. No, I don't want to explain to these guys, do I? Whoa.
Sid's gonna tease you regardless what you say, bud.
Yeah.
Because essentially, he just kind of screwed himself over by inviting them along. Because he was gonna essentially just kind of put it
back over the fence.
And run.
Okay, well, that's a sudden change of plans.
So that way it can't be like, because it would be kind of suspicious.
Sure.
The militia that was randomly there at the museum when it got stolen.
Same guy shows back. Hey, look what I found. Just laying out in the street somewhere. The dog had it. Yeah, maybe the dog broke in here, set off fireworks, broke windows. Had 12 of you idiots chasing him around like a moron. Came back twice, set off fireworks, and got away. Maybe it was the dog.
So, figure it out. So this rod was stolen from the museum, right? Turns out, stolen by a kid, right? So I'm gonna
be your friend, would it?
Do they know about Thomas?
Oh, you're right. That's right.
I don't think you do. No, he's kept this. No, Thomas has been very sneaky about that.
Never mind. I have not said anything.
And I can actually say no because in my head, I have actually planned out what's going to happen if and when Thomas meets any of the rest of you. So, yeah.
Turns out it was stolen by a kid. Apparently, this staff thingy, according to some old text, was able to bring back the dead. And the kid stole it to, bring back the dead.
Oh, good.
It's a sad story. I managed to have a talk with the kid. And I think he's at least somewhat learned some things. We're going to keep an eye on him, but check in with him time to time.
So how'd this case end up in your lap? You don't seem the type to be museum
Like
quality
Citadel
piece.
business? No.
Yeah.
I've had a run in with the kid before. Turned out to be he turned out to be going for lesser art when I ran into him originally. I thought I set him on the straight and narrow, but turns out when I went to see him again to check in up on him, he'd stolen this. Hopefully this talk that I've had with him really sets it home that he can't be doing stuff like that. But I've never been one to. I'm not a good parent. I've never been a parent. I'm not too great with kids. So hopefully my words get through. But I don't want a kid who wants to bring back the dead, like dead family members, to get in trouble for this.
Yeah, I seem to remember stories that don't end well when the dead come back from the grave.
Yeah. Something about like there was this once, I think there was this artist, his name was Romero or something like that. He made really good tales about the dead coming back to life and the tragedy of it.
Before my time.
So
he's gonna continue to explain that as they're kind of walking there.
So your intent is to go there and
not
Yeet it over the
deliver,
fence.
just kind of like, so what I'm gonna do is to not get the kid in trouble, and because it's not really my jurisdiction, I'm gonna anonymously deliver it back.
This should be fun.
Yeah, I'm just gonna yeet it over the fence. I'm gonna be honest.
Delilah, what's your response to all of this? Stolen from the Citadel. Don't worry about it. They're all meatheads, basically. I'm just gonna chuck it back over the fence. They'll be fine. They'll never catch me. I'm just filtering it through like Citadel raised mind, right?
Yeah. No, she.
Sid's
Delilah.
absolutely going to like hang back once Koa starts doing this, you know.
Oh yeah, like Delilah.
Teenagers and the one guy about to do something stupid. Yeah, we're not going to be caught in the backlash of that.
Yeah.
That's Delilah. Yeah, I know you've got some connections with the Citadel.
Yes.
Could have delivered this.
Plus, Delilah and Sid know that Verite has asked them to break into the Citadel. Or no, not Verite, the other one. Inceptum has asked you to break in, and that they can help you a little bit. But having somebody else break in probably just made that.
It was Verite.
Verite wants the acid, the acid and the voltmeter.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
and these metals.
Inceptum wanted us to go outside.
Yes, Inceptum wants you to go outside. So.
I'll have you know that most of the Citadel members are quite upstanding and capable. Thank you very much.
Right, I'm not saying that they are. They did let a kid steal from them without catching the kid.
And you let him get away with it.
Yeah, he's just a kid. I'm not gonna let him get thrown in prison for this. The rules here are pretty harsh, even for kids. So that's against the Citadel.
I'm just like, send him down to the boilers for a few months. We'll set him straight.
Are you sure throwing it over the wall is the best method?
Unless you have a better idea.
I don't know, anonymous parcel delivery?
That exit.
Sid, you could easily, actually you or Delilah could easily program a construct to deliver a package. Easy. Untraceable easy. At least like to have it walk up to the gate and stand there and wait for somebody to come out and get it. Yeah.
The question is if you guys mentioned that.
More Delilah than me, but yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have a skill that lets me do that.
Yep. You specifically can reprogram. Yeah. Yeah. Sid can make it do things it can already do, like it's already on its list, but you can actually program it. So yeah.
Why don't we send a construct with the artifact. Clean hands, no trace.
No trace. All
No
right.
trace.
That is a better idea.
So, yeah. Delilah, you can just pick one up off the street and just beep, boop, 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 boop. Easy. Easy
Yeah.
peasy. Not even going to make you roll or use your stuff for nothing. But, so the end result is you build, you reprogram it, you hand it the stick. It's regularly programmed to light lamps, so it's holding it like a lamp lighting stick. It's easier to just not reprogram it, so it's just walking down the street. But yeah, you see it heading towards the Citadel. It's on its way.
It stops at the lamps. Tries
It
to
tries
light
to
it.
light it with the ancient thing. Yeah, the old program is coming through. You didn't defrag the disc. Yeah, you didn't format the disc.
Well, she didn't.
The Steam disc.
It would
'cause
be
it's all
funnier.
Steam, right?
Honestly, it would be funnier. You see two Citadel guards standing there, having their Citadel guard conversations
Yeah.
as they watch this fucking construct walk by, trying to light lamps with a fucking iron rod.
And then walk
that
up to
they've
them
been
and go.
Or no, just walk on by. Because they watch this, she's like,
Yeah.
Wait a second. Is that the lamp?
But eventually, yeah.
I mean, is that the,
yeah.
Anyway,
is that the rod?
it works. You get the. I love that scene. But yeah, it gets where it's going. As the three of you watch it walk away down towards the Citadel, we cut away, back up the hill, back up to a certain mansion, back up to a certain bedroom, back up to a certain boy who's had time alone to think. And as we cut back into Thomas's room, he's got a huge backpack open in front of him, and he's stuffing things into it. That big book, no wrapping paper, no nothing, just shoves it in there. Food, water, bedroll. Heaves it out, almost falls over. It's so heavy. Straps it up in front of him. Walks down the hill off of his property. And we see him heading towards one of the gates of the city in the darkness. And that, with those three faces, is where we're going to drop the curtain on tonight. Won't go out of the city for Inceptum. Bet you go out for the little boy.
honestly,
Damn. Okay.
part of Sid's next plan was to like scout the port area
Yeah.
while they were waiting for Verde to come off the drugs
Yeah.
and see if we could actually leave that way.
Oh, yeah.
But-
So yeah, you
Yeah,
don't.
okay.
Nobody knows that he's leaving, by the way. So yeah, because you guys don't get to see the cameras. But that is where we will call tonight. It's a little short, but it was intense. So let's do that. And there was also only three of you. So, whew, that was a good one. I like that a lot. We got a lot done tonight. A lot of
I
character
liked it a
development. So lots of experiencey things in the wheels. We'll do that during the week. But yeah, everybody's gaining a bunch for that. So thank you all very, very much for this. Thank you, Bison_Stonefist. Thank you, Wayward Knight. And thank you, Phil. Thank all of you for bringing it all tonight. We got some great character developments going, some great character arcs going. We got to see some strengths and some weaknesses. Please do join our Discord and have some fun and come play with us. Come run games for us, come produce for us, whatever it is you like to do. If you happen to like editing, could we use some editors? Like you wouldn't believe, because I hate editing. Anyway, with that, let's do the final two thank yous. Thank you to everybody in chat. Some new names in there tonight, some folks we've seen a couple times. It's great to have you back. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for sticking around. This is not everybody's cup of tea. We didn't fight anybody for weeks now. But thank you. I appreciate it very much. The folks watching on YouTube in the future, thank you. If you watched all the way to here, please hit the like button. I'm not even going to say anything snarky this week. Just please hit the like button if you watched all the way to here. You know how to edit. You already do too much. Anyway. But with that, that's all the thank yous out of the way. So the only thing that is left is the important bit. Please, I would take it as a personal favor if, until next time, you would please be nice to each other. Good night.